Welcome back to Nick Lenz Comic Corner Classic Non-Classics. This is episode number 1951 and Doubleshot number 1845. This one, not exactly trades per se, but 10 straight issues of one series. They're actually collecting two separate trades. The first up, basically, now we're discussing issues of the series Thunderbolts, issues 148 to 157. The reason why 157, because 158 starts for itself tie-in. First two issues are tie-in to Shadowland. And fun fact, this is one of only two ongoing series that tied into Shadowland. Yeah, here's the cover for it. Yes. Now, the only ongoing series tied into Shadowland was, and this is quite interesting, well, Daredevil was obvious one. Thunderbolts, not really. It seems a bit odd, but my guess is probably the reason why they probably threw in Thunderbolts in there, because they feature in they probably feature in Siege. Siege probably sold, the Siege tie-in probably for this one probably did sell a pretty good penny, so they figured though, hey, why not have a couple issues tying this crossover? And here's also a fun fact, after this one, and Fear Itself, now Fear Itself is the next time basically the series is part of a crossover. And after this, here's the weird thing. The next time after Fear Itself, where the series is tied into a crossover, is not into the events of Infinity, 2 years later. And after that, yeah, Infinity was actually the last crossover tied in with, because, actually no, it did have a couple tie-ins, mostly the series of miniseries. One was, actually it was just one, it was just basically King of Black Thunderbolts, which basically was sort of something that would lead into the current miniseries published now written by Jim Zeb. Now, these two issues, 140, 149, yeah, only two issues, shockingly. Now, these two issues mostly put what the Thunderbolts were up to during the events of Shadowland. What were they up to? Fighting ninjas in the sewers. That's literally what they do in these issues. But the most noteworthy thing about these issues is in 149, Crossbones kills a police officer. And then with the very next issue, he is off the roster because he killed a police officer in Shadowland. Yep. Now 150 is noteworthy for being one of two issues of the entire series where it is where the cover is homage to, well, kind of in a way of Uncanny X-Men number 100. Mostly put, it's just, they say the Avengers, mostly just Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor. Though this is basically when Captain America was basically under his real name. The Captain America at the time was actually Bucky Barnes. Excuse me. And Steve Rogers, at this point, was known as Commander Steve Rogers, where he was kind of basically taking care of the business of S.H.I.E.L.D. This, of course, is just prior to events of Fear Itself. S.H.I.E.L.D. was brought back after that particular event. Now, here the thing was, S.H.I.E.L.D. was actually on comics at that point from 2011 to 2017. Afterwards, Marvel had to get rid of it for some stupid reason. I have no idea why. This issue simply was a test by the Avengers, just to test out the Thunderbolts. The issue itself does feel like a really big, giant-sized issue, but it also has a reprint of issue 1. Why in the world they included issue 1? My only guess is the reason why they included it is because there probably some people in the year 22 probably never read the issue 4. That's my only theory in the matter. But it's just a test on their part, and of course, also, it was probably... Now, here's the strange thing. Like, prior to this, the last time Captain America interacted with Crossbones was actually during, well, when Eber Baker, well, during when just prior to issue 25. I think that was the last time I could think of that Steve Rogers interacted with Crossbones, because this probably was the first time in 4 years to interact with him. But yeah, this is basically a test for them. And of course, they passed, no problem. And 151 does end the Siege, the trade that collects the Siege tie-in issues. Now, 151 is called Ghost Story. It's just simply put, basically, adding new members to the roster. Yes, it's focused on Ghost, obviously. It's basically a day in his life with all in the prison. because it's a lot of focus on him and a few other people. Though we do have one potential purge join Thunderbolts, Hyperion, who joins issue 151. And I don't think I remember correctly, this is actually the villainous Hyperion from Earth 616. Yes, I believe so. Just going to take a look and see about that. Let's see. This is... Actually, no, this actually is not the 616 one. This actually is the King Hyperion from the pages of Exiles. Yes. Now, for some reason, he ended up on this particular Earth. Yeah, he was last seen back in Exile 65, which came out in 2005. That was the last time he was seen. And somehow, he ended up on Earth 616. We got the crap beat out of him by Blue Marvel, and he got basically sent to the raft. And he's here till, like, issue 153, where he gets killed. Yeah, he's there just for 3 issues, and that's it. Now, 152. Now, you probably think this cover, like, wow, this cover looks very familiar. This issue is issue 152. The cover itself looks very familiar because Greg Land reused his very cover for the first issue of the Al Ewing Mighty Avengers series, which also just happened to star Luke Cage as the boss. Yep. Now, simply put, 150, 153, this, from 150 153, this is now, actually 152, 153, these are just 2 issues with him on the team. That's simple, basically. Also, this is actually the first time in a while where they actually have these people. So, excuse me. So he turns bad, and he gets killed off in issue 154, and that's the last you see of Hyperion. Well, the King Hyperion one. Yeah, this actually is the last time you see him. He gets killed off the next issue by freaking Man-Thing because he turned on the team. Yeah, that's simply what happens to him. In 154. We have, well, of course, the cover. Now, this is, of course, in the year 2011 that these issues come out. I think it was like 151, was the first issue released in the year 2011. Was it 152? It was 152. That was the first issue released in 2011. Now, 154 does see the Fixer return to the theme. And, of course, basically, this is mostly put just... Well, the best way to describe this issue is, well, it's a Man-Thing story written as a Thunderbolts issue. Because, well, it's just Thunderbolts going to the Everglades. Yeah, and having Fixer join the roster was interesting. It's a nice standalone issue. Now, in the case of 155, we have Doctor Strange show up. Yes, Doctor Strange. Now you're probably thinking, what the heck is Doctor Strange doing Strange to Thunderbolts? Well, here's kind of the reason. He actually has Damien Hellstrom's beautiful sister join Thunderbolts. Except that I kind of forgot she was on this roster. Yeah, if you're curious to how long did she stay with the frickin' Thunderbolts, you might ask? Well, not very long. I don't really remember, like, how long she was on it. She was on this roster. Oh, she was on this for quite a while. Even after, basically, she's on the roster for pretty much the rest of the series, up until its ending issue 183. I kind of forgot she was on the roster, but that's simply put what this issue is. It's a great little magical issue, and it's nice that we get a chance to see another relative of a famous character in Marvel Comics. Though the thing is, Kane Marco is the stepbrother of Charles Xavier, while in the case of someone like Santana is, well, her brother is not as famous as Charles Xavier. But yeah, I guess from her perspective, like, oh yeah, more women joining the roster. Yeah, but beautiful woman. Yep, and of course, basically, well, we have more Thunderbolt stuff. Now, we do have a couple more issues to talk about. Let's move on here. In issue 156, we have potential of possibly new members joining the Thunderbolts in issue 150. 156. Well, actually, she's absent for. Yeah, so 156. We kind of have the view. We kind of potentially would join the roster, and mostly put 157, which is a very next issue. We had the first appearance of the beta team of the Thunderbolts. Yeah, they're basically like a backup team for the Thunderbolts. They're comprised of Boomerang, Centaurus, Mr. Hyde, Troll, and Shocker. Troll herself, who made his first appearance in issue 145, she actually is, well, she's not doing very much nowadays. Nope. Her most recent appearance was actually in Karen Gillian's Young Avengers series. Yep. Now it's interesting that we have, if you look at it, we have a Spider-Man villain, an original character for this book, Mr. Hyde, a freaking Thor villain, and Boomerang, who started as a Hulk villain. Yeah, he started as a Hulk villain. Yeah, and, well, basically in the way, you just have issue 157 just deal with some Nazis. Yeah. Just a big creature stuff. Yeah, it's kind of a weird ending to this one, but that's basically what it is when it comes to that. I give these issues roughly a 9.5. I think just really good issues. Jed Parker himself does an absolute really good job with these issues. Yes, he does. Yep, and that's going to be pretty much it for Cycle Review. I'm just going to go ahead and next comic corner to get out of the way. And I'm just going to say two different series. One because I want to talk about their trades. The other one because I want to just a little bit more of this one, okay? Thanks for you. Bye.